Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to our squad at the Women's Center at Brooklyn College. We are in day 3 of our Turbocharge Your Employability. My name is Nava Rennick, and I'm the program coordinator at the Women's Center. And our moderators for this week have been Victoria and Amber. And I want to turn it over to Victoria now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Before we begin, I just want to go over a few logistics. Please mute yourselves during the session. Also, turn on your video as much as you can. We recognize that we all have chaotic lives and we embrace the challenges we face. We would really appreciate it if you all share your private space with us. And lastly, please use reaction functions as feedback during the session. Your reactions energizes us. Now I'm going to pass it to Amber to introduce our speaker.
Hi guys, my name is Amber. Before I introduce our speaker, I'd just like to say that you guys can raise your hand throughout the meeting, and we'll keep a track of that, or you can write your questions inside of the chat box. And with that, I'll introduce our speaker, Miss Doris.
Hi everybody, my name is Doris Bien-Aime, also referred to as D Bien-Aime, so whichever is more comfortable for you, I will respond to that. I am a proud Brooklyn College graduate, and I also serve on the Board of Trustees, which is a board that does a lot of work to ensure that the funding that we need, or that the needs that you all have to do your very best, are taken care of. So I'm super excited and proud to be here with you in fellowship today. Of course, I would love to be with you in the physical sense, but we've all learned a new way to connect in this new world of social distancing. So thank you for having me. Nava, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this incredible program, which is so phenomenal for your personal and professional development. I can't tell you enough how important it is for you to invest your time and energy into pouring into yourself. And I'm so excited to be here today. A little bit about me. I'm a brand and educational strategist. So what does that mean? It means for the past 15 years, I have worked with companies and individuals on how to position themselves for success. My background is in marketing, so messaging is everything to me. I'm also a mom, I'm also a Brooklynite, I'm also a woman, I'm also so many phenomenal things, just like you are, that also help me to help companies and individuals put their very, very best foot forward. So as you can see, the name of today's workshop is something that's very signature to my platform. I've taught this from any neighborhood all the way to Harvard. I work with many individuals who have gone on to create companies and brands in areas specific to wellness and lifestyle. It's important for me to mention that to you, because wellness and lifestyle are going to be fused into what we talk about today, because I think too often we hear stories of success that are not wrapped around stories of how to keep yourself sane. And we're seeing that so much in popular culture, with how the very best in their fields are having to take a minute, sit back and figure out, well, how do I feel about things? So we're going to not only be talking about how to help you fuel your game, but how to also ensure that you're feeling your very best along the way as well. So if you want to throw a little clap in the chat or something so I can see, does that make sense to you? Do you like that? Awesome, I'm excited. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Nava. There may be some housekeeping rules, some things you may want me to know. Ladies, you may want to chime in at any time with your questions. I want to give you one more opportunity to say that before we get into the slides, which you are all free to interject so much as your hosts, Amber and Victoria, say that it's okay, because I'm all about a free-flowing dialogue. I love for you to get your questions answered in real time. One thing that you're going to figure out about what it means to bring your A game is knowing how to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So that's why I say I'm all for being able to answer questions in real time. We will have a designated time for question and answer, but that may be more personalized questions. So as we go through the slides, there may be something that you need to know at that particular moment. And I want to give you ample opportunity to be seen and be heard. Okay? So shall we proceed? All right, let's do it. So how to bring your A game, everything you need to land your brand. So what is your brand? We talk about Target and Pepsi and all these other phenomenal brands that we know because we buy them, but we also want to buy into the idea that we are brands as well. You are your own brand. Your brand is how you look, how you speak, how you move, how your energy impacts people, and also how you receive energy as well. You're not only responsible for the energy you give out, but you're responsible for the energy that you allow in. So much of what we become in life is connected to what we allow, what we receive, what we connect ourselves to in practice, and also in belief system as well. As we discussed, how to land your brand. Now, just so I have an understanding, this is for the Women's Center, but I do see we have a few gentlemen in the room. Do we have a mixed group here today, Nava?
We usually have mostly women, and anybody's invited. So there are a few men who are coming because we're serving the CUNY Recovery Corps on the Brooklyn College campus. So anybody was invited.
No, very good. That's good for me to know, because I also want to make sure that I can tailor the conversation and the questions. Okay. So what does it mean to land? So what I will do for the purposes of ensuring that we're being as inclusive as possible, knowing that our primary audience is geared towards women, everything that I'm saying is applicable to everyone in attendance. So it's very important for us to discuss that, offhand. So what does it mean to land? Learning to assert yourself in the now will determine your future. So oftentimes I find that we're very hesitant. This beeping, I guess people are just coming in. People are often not really sure as to how to actually assert them. What does it mean to be successful? Is there a way for me to mute the beeping of the people who enter, or no?
Not that I know of, unless you are not the co-host. So
okay, no worries. It's just a little extra stimuli. You learn how to be adaptive. You learn how to adapt, right? You get over it. So with that said, here are a couple of ladies that land and have a plan. So we have Meg Whitman at the bottom, who is on the board for Procter & Gamble. She's a tech investor. Obviously, you see our VP here top left, Miss Kamala Harris. And then we have Rihanna, who is, I want to say, the richest woman in pop industry right now, with everything from recording contracts to clothing lines to a number of brands that are making her billions of dollars. We have three very different professionals, all in very different spaces, who have learned and mastered what it means to assert themselves. I'm really looking forward to speaking with Nav at a later time to learn more about the Recovery Corps program, what that sounds like, because it sounds like there may be some non-traditional aspects to that area of focus, and that would be something that speaks to me personally. By the time I attended Brooklyn College, I was a cancer survivor, I had survived domestic violence, and I was a single mother of two. Very important for you to understand that, because it is also of equal importance for you to know that I have two very successful companies, one in the tech industry, one specifically in the service related industry, where I work as a brand consultant to assist professionals in their space. It's so important that you understand that the plan is not always about perfection. The plan is always and truly wrapped around purpose. So I don't know what it is that any of you are aspiring to do. I know that you all are very early in your professional development process. And I think what better opportunity for you to hear that absolutely everything is possible than at this particular season of your process. Again, if you could just throw a little, claps up. Have you felt overwhelmed about what it would mean to look into the workforce post-graduation? Has that been overwhelming for anybody? If you could just throw some, yeah, okay, be really, really transparent with me about that, because I can speak to you about that in real world experience time. Anybody can give you tips and tricks on how to be the best and a list of 10 app things. And we are flooded with information, but we're not flooded with enough purpose and intention around, well, how did you do it? And that's why I lean always into the concept of being very plan oriented, because as you know, you need to have a plan of action. You want to decide who you want to be, right? What does that mean? It almost always means that was not exactly the screen I wanted to go to. So I'm gonna just go all the way back around, and you'll be patient with me, because tech is not my thing. It's not. I'm gonna go backward, and I'm going to take you back to where we were. And here we are. I'm so used to having a team with me. I have AV people that work with me because one thing I will tell you about having a plan, outsource what you don't know. There'll be the things that you're great at, and then there'll be the things you're not really good at. And nobody likes to talk about that because that doesn't sound as cool. But to me, it does. I would not have been able to survive some of the crazy things I did in life if I didn't have a hard lesson on some things just don't work that way, but they can still work. So figure it out anyway. It's one of the most important things you can learn at this level of your professional ascent, because I cannot tell you the number of students and hyper professional adults that struggle with professional transition when they just don't understand that sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you have to figure out what's the next way to do this. Now, hopefully you're reading these slides. You're going to get messages from everywhere. You've got to learn how to quiet the world. You've got to learn how to not overschedule yourself. I've been hearing that over the course of these workshops that you've been in. There's been a lot of focus on writing. That's fantastic. Writing has been one of my saving graces. It's not only helped me connect with myself, but it has helped me master my oratory skills. You know, as a paid public speaker, I host everything from fundraisers to a myriad of events. And it all started with my ability to connect with my own story. Your story is your superpower. So connect with the story of you, connect with what makes you you, because there's only one you. There are 1,000 people who are going to be successful, but there's only one person that can be the successful version of yourself. You know, habits are really important. Pay attention to your everyday. What does your everyday look like? Because your everyday is connected to your tomorrow. How much time are you on Instagram? How much time are you on TikTok? Have fun, veg out, but at the same time, create time and opportunity to do things like this. So I'm super proud of all of you who are taking the time out to be here today. Something I will share with you. Not only are you getting some real deal gems and you're building community with the professionals like Nava who are setting this up for you, but you're also finding out who are the like-minded people in your immediate community. So you should all be finding ways to build community with the people on this Zoom. These are the people that you're going to be able to reach out to in a year or two who are going to be at companies who are going to be able to help you do better in life. So when you engage in professional development activities like this, it's not just a one-off. It's not just, well, today I'm going to learn about these 10 things. Don't think so linearly. You want to think with a broad brush. You want to paint with a broad brush, rather. And you want to realize, what is the breadth of gift that I get from being a part of something like this? So decide who you want to be. And then even when it's hard, continue to be that person. We just talked about how I have a complete technological blunder because that's just not my thing. Am I going to get better at it? Sure. Once I put the twins on the plane, for those of you who weren't here before, I have twin daughters who are headed to college in 2 weeks. And tech is probably the one area where I'm not that great at. So I will commit to getting better at that. But in the meantime, I'll admit that sometimes you're going to fail at something and it cannot be the end of you. It just cannot. Because if you attach your worth to your failure, you will never see the win, because you're going to lose sometimes, but it will not necessarily mean an infinite loss. It will mean an opportunity in the meantime to figure out what don't I not yet know? Who have I not yet enlisted for help? What do I need to focus on? See, those are great questions that point you into directions. But if you allow yourself to be finished at the point of failure, well, then that's just not going to work. That's not going to help you land your brand. It's not going to help you maneuver professional spaces. And it's certainly not going to help you become a whole and realized individual. We all know the expression, secure that bag. Secure yourself. What does it mean? It means that it is so important for you to go out in whatever part. I know some of you are juniors, some of you are sophomores. I don't know. Hopefully, when we do the Q&A, you can talk to me a little bit about who you are personally, because wherever you are in that growth process, you have to reinvent and redefine certain terms for yourself. Like, what does it mean to secure the bag? It doesn't mean find a high-paying job, right? Because there's some big steps in the middle of that. When I started my career in branding, I started in a stockroom. I didn't have a degree. I didn't have any resources. This was not a particularly very inclusive time in the beauty industry where you saw a great deal of diversity. So I had to get in where I fit in. And as unattractive as that decision was, however many years ago, to start in a stock room, what I told myself then was, if I can get in, I can get up. Get really good at securing your position spiritually. Put yourself in the room before anybody ever invites you in. Because if you can do that, if you can literally visualize where you want to be, you will make baby steps that are still steps that will help you get to the next level. Okay. And we can get into that more and more as we go into the question and answer, because I know you're going to want to know about things like that. Next point, commit to being a student forever. I don't know how you all feel going to school in the pandemic. I applaud you all because nobody's ever had to do this before. Like, you are the first. And you know what happens when you're the first? Not only are you scared as hell, but you're a pioneer. So you write the story on how this whole thing works out for you. You get to shape this narrative. Nobody else is going to be able to tell you about the time when somebody else. No, you are the first. Embrace that. For every bit of it that's terrifying, it's really triumphant. Because there's no wrong way to do something the very first time, because you're doing it. See, if you were sitting at home under the covers eating ice cream, watching Netflix all day, well, you might not be doing it. You might need to do that some days, though. Allow yourself some grace as well. But embrace the fact that you're actually doing this thing. You know, I really want to talk to you about when you do graduate, or as you continue to build community with your professors here. First point, don't take yourself so seriously. Life is hard enough. It's super important that you learn how to be what's called malleable. Really, like, you got to be able to adapt. Be informed on things, but also remain very coachable. Nobody wants to talk to a know-it-all. So as you go out into the workforce to learn how to land your brand, assert yourself as a professional, but also be mindful that you're going to have to learn how to do things sometimes. I'm constantly seeking out information from people who I feel know more than I do, or even people who may know some things similarly for myself. Everyone is your mentor. Master the art of the self-start. What does that mean? Don't limit yourself to your job description. Whatever job that you all get in the near future, it's going to say that you do X amount of things. Be really, really focused on figuring out other ways in which you can add value to the project, to the company, to the organization. There are going to be so many ways that you can learn to assert yourself throughout your professional journey. So within respect of your superiors, find ways that you can add on to the value that you add. You don't have to limit yourself to just what you do. And oftentimes in lower paying jobs, the mindset can be developed that, well, I only am supposed to do this, and that. But I'll give you a really cool anecdotal that relates to me. I worked for a company very many years ago where I was given a particular job description. And because I found that I'd be able to do my work relatively more efficient if I added a few more things, I leaped 4 positions up in a promotion because I was able to demonstrate that I could add value by doing X, and it helped me to get from a very limited capacity. So what I want you to understand is, do what it is that you're asked to do really well, and also assign to yourself the opportunity to explore, well, how else can I add value? And then find out the ways in which you can do that. It may not always be at the actual job front. It may be through, volunteering or being on a committee. So what I want you to do is expand your realm of possibility. You're not limited to a piece of paper. Okay. If there's a particular area you want to go into in an industry, research it ahead of time. Now you have technology at your whim. You can YouTube yourself into the galaxy and prepare your mindset for the next skill that you're going to need. Networking. Who here is over the word networking, and like, what does it even mean? I want to know, like, I want to know, when we have our question and answer, what that word means to you, because I have experienced a great deal of professional shaping with individuals where they don't seem to know that it's an actual art to network, and that is crucial to your professional journey. Nobody's going to ask you what your GPA is a year, 6 months, even after you graduate. So you know what you're going to have to rest on? Who you are and what you bring to the table. and the kind of energy and character people can glean from being in your presence. So there's a perfect example. I do a lot of lectures at schools, and sometimes I'll get emails. Always email people within 48 hours of having an engagement as well. There are professional development workshops that I teach that are geared specifically towards that. Today's conversation with you all is mixed. We're talking a little bit about how to assert myself at work, how to keep myself together in my day-to-day, and how to manage the effects of the pandemic that is ongoing, right? We're touching on several points, but I do want to give you a little gem. You meet somebody you want to keep in contact with, send a nice email. It was great meeting you. Now, networking is, I'd love to if possible, discuss any opportunities to volunteer or assist. Nagging is, can you help me find a job? You know, can I pick your brain? Nobody wants to hear that. Those are terms that let people know that you're just leeching and you're just pulling. Great bit of professional boost I can give you is learn how to help people help you. Everybody, most people want to help you, to be honest. Most people want to help people who are trying to do better for themselves, but nobody wants to feel used. So as you engage people in professional settings, find ways to humanize the interaction, right? I have all these hilarious templates about what your resume and your emails should not look like. And they're in other slides that I use for other courses, but I cannot stress to you enough the importance of updating your digital profile. Go through those tweets. If they're not private, ensure that nothing is there that lives in, forever on, that you would not want a company to be able to go back and look. Companies do look at this type of thing. Your LinkedIn should be updated. This phenomenal workshop that you've been doing all these days, if there's some sort of a certificate at the end or anything like that, you want to be able to have your best efforts speak for you. We live at a time now where you don't have to do your own talking. You have the benefit of these social utilities, which is what they're called, to work for your benefit. So make sure that your imagery is on point. Make sure that the wording is on point. I'm happy that you're all writing, because now you're going to be able to take the skills that you just got from that experience and now connect that to this work. That's what success is. Success is a series of habits plus opportunity, and the fact that you're gaining these skills and you're learning how to apply it, because that's why I'm not a fan of people just looking at these type of programs and saying, okay, I learned these 10 things. Okay, so what? You heard these 10 things, but how are we actually going to apply them so that we can see how we've benefited from them? So you should, after this whole process is over, you want to spend some time with yourself. You want to go over your writing. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile looks the way that it should look. Your brand lives and breathes. That means that your Instagram speaks for you when you're not there. Should it be private? What's on there? All of those things are connected to your next best effort. And it's really important that you understand that landing your brand means taking the whole of you and figuring out, does everything about me speak to who I am, where I'm headed, and what I want to be said about me? Getting involved is really, really important. You will not continue to grow in your professional or personal space if you wait for opportunity to come over to your house. Opportunity is not going to send you a snap and be like, hey, follow me back. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen in your life is you're going to make connections. You're going to build community. You're going to consistently research the areas that you want to go into. You're going to find mentors. You're going to be really proactive as it relates to what does it mean to get involved. Serving on boards. So, little known fact, when I was a student at Brooklyn College, I was also exploring graduate school opportunity, and I was taking my courses per semester, and I was also researching grad schools at the same time. And one thing that I found at schools around the country was that there were a lot of symposiums and, I want to say, conscious raising activities that I felt boosted morale for the students. And when I got back to BC, I noticed that because we're a commuter school, we're a busier place. These were all residential campuses. right? That tends to be the excuse sometimes that even the students will use for saying, oh, well, I'm moving, I go to work. But there's no excuse for the things that we want to actually make happen, right? We have to become the change we want in the world. And I went to the dean at the time and I said, hey, I'd love if we could host a symposium, just out the blue. I literally walked in this man's office and said, hey, hi, I want to build a symposium. And he did the coolest thing ever. He said, well, we don't have a budget, but if you can figure it out, go ahead. Sometimes all you need is a yes. But before you can get a yes, you have to be brave enough to ask for it. So, long story short, that symposium is called Business Matters. It is the most widely attended symposium that Brooklyn College has every year for the School of Business. The success of that conference is what led to me being appointed as a trustee. And it also informed my ability to design conferences for companies today. So sometimes your very best effort is connected to a big, let me try. I could have said that probably way more eloquently, but your biggest, coolest accomplishments are not often going to be attached to fairies running around with magic wands. They're often going to be attached to having an idea and having the guts to push off on it, and then building community around individuals that support your ascent, support your baby step. Okay. So where you can, serve on committees, find out what makes you tick. What do you care about? Because in discovering what you care about, you're also building community. And in building community, guess what you get to talk about amongst those people? Other opportunities that you want and that you need. And good people need to find good people. So it's not using anybody, it's building community. It is finding synergies. And during the book up, so about during the pandemic, because I was unable to go to companies and go to schools, I'm an avid reader. Reading has been one of my biggest saving graces. If you want to travel anywhere and you can't physically go in a book. Really, you want to learn anything at all, go in a book. I'm a cancer survivor. I had a kind of cancer that only one other person in medical history has ever had. And reading books is not only what helped me identify the professionals that would one day save my life, but it also helped me to continue to hone my professional skills at a time where I could not necessarily go to school the way that I wanted to. So when I expressed to you, so I didn't. If you want more information on the book club that I've started, which is also a hub for mentorship, a lot of my colleagues are part of this, and it's an informal way to gain additional mentorship opportunity as well. And I'm kind of funny, so it's kind of fun because it can't be so serious. I think that was 2 slides ago. I said don't take yourself too seriously. So as much as I'm a big proponent of being your most professional and polished self, I'm always going to say have a good time. Find a way to have a good time because life is happening and life is not always going to be happening in ways that are easy. So you will be able to make it through if you can find a reason to smile every day because there's always a reason to smile. Difficult people do exist. I have had some really crazy experiences throughout my life with difficult work environments. And I don't think that conversation is brought up enough. We tend to give people this really straight line of vision, like you'll go to school, you'll get these grades, you'll get a job, it'll be great, and then you'll have a corner office, and then you'll retire when you're old, and then you'll be in Florida or something like that. Like that's just kind of what we tell people. And I'm a big disruptor of what we've always done. We can't just do things because we've always done them. That doesn't mean we've been doing them right. Right. So I love to talk about the ugly when we explore the beauty of life, right? Because that's really what's beautiful. If we don't discuss the things that could come up, then you're not prepared. And where there's a lack of preparation, there is imminent failure. And I don't want you to fail forever. I want you to fail in the meantime, get it right, pivot, and hit it hard again. So we have to discuss what might await you in some of these professional settings. There will be people there that you do not like. Your job is to find spaces where you can remain whole, right? Remain whole, remain focused on what your next level is going to be. Hopefully, you'll build community in those spaces. But in the event that you do run into people that hamper your ability to do that, you need to be prepared. I don't know if any of you have seen that viral video in the past 2 days. Have you? About the young lady who was harassed by her manager at Wendy's. She was Yeah, right, Amber? That was awful. And if you haven't seen it, this young lady he referred to her in a very derogatory manner. She took a video of it. It went viral. A few celebrities you know, tweeted it and posted it in support of her experience. And I found out today that he was actually, in fact, fired. And in fact, Wendy suspended her prior to them actually doing this. And that's probably because of the political pressure around it. So thank God for technology, even though everything that's called on technology still doesn't create the justice that we want, but we are seeing some change. I thought it really important to bring up this particular example because there's no better way to teach you a lesson than to tell you, here's the time when it happened. And you have a right to a dignified work experience, period. And that's something that you should understand. That is something that you should understand going into this next season of your life because you are busting your behind, you are building skills, you are learning what it means to believe that you're a contributor. And what you should also get through your mind right now is that you're worthy of what you're giving. You're giving 100%. The companies that you invest your time and energy and spirit into need to give you 100%. And you need to understand that. That is not often discussed in the framing of conversations like this because there tends to be this very, savior like approach to viewing employer employee dynamics. But the reality is, we're talking about equal footing. You have something to offer, they need what you have to offer, and you need to get it in your mind that you're worthy of respect because that respect is what's going to help you negotiate good salaries. That respect that you feel for yourself is what's going to help you figure out when you need a sick day. That respect for yourself is going to help you get into rooms and negotiate the next big opportunity for yourself. So if you don't learn anything outside of whatever your classes are teaching you, learn self-respect because it'll also help you figure out who you want to keep company with. We discussed earlier that my area of focus is wellness and lifestyle. Mindfulness is a major part of learning what it means to be successful in habit because success is not a destination. If success was just a place that you end up, then where would you be during the times of your life where you weren't quite where you wanted to be? You cannot believe that you are successful or you are not. You have to consistently believe and understand that success is a journey and there will be pitfalls and valleys and there will be peaks, there'll be highs and lows, but it is a process. Success is a process. Commit to the process. These are a few things that I do that I recommend that my students and my clients do regularly to ensure that they're putting themselves in the line of practice as it relates to what does it mean to be successful, right? We are all very aware of what's going on with our Olympics and what has happened with our beloved champion, Miss Simone Biles, and her, the one young woman, Sun Yi Lee, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, I hope so, who has taken home the gold in her place. And I think that it's super important to express the fact that the only way to win is to play, but the only way to play is to prioritize yourself. Because both of these women are winners in the fact that success is not doing what you are told. Success is finding out what are the habits that I need to maintain for myself so that I am whole when I get there. Because if you are wealthy, but you are not well, you're not successful. And if you have lots of things, but you've lost yourself, you are not successful. So I'm a giant proponent of building your professional network, learning what it means to be a contributor. You know, I've never been competitive as it relates to other people. I've always looked at myself in relation to myself. That may be something that's innate to how I function, but I will say that comparison is the killer of creativity. Learn what it means to get really good at liking the parts of yourself that you like and giving grace to the parts that you don't, and figuring out how to make friends with the two. And I promise you, you'll do very well. I'd say you're ready to land, you're prepared for takeoff. This is the presentation I had for you today as it relates to, summarizing the areas of focus that I think you should focus on. I welcome you to keep in touch with me on Instagram. That's my IMD Bien-Aime. What you'll find on there is a lot of content, a lot of motivational videos. I was really against social media up until like maybe a year ago, where most of the lectures that I went to, people were like, well, how do we learn more about you? And I'm like, I'm not really into this social media thing, but I realized you have to learn to adapt. You have to learn to get over the things you don't really like, because there's still tools. We talked about social utilities. We talked about how you're going to refocus on your LinkedIn, your Insta, and what other tools you are going to use to catapult yourself. The Aligned Experience is my online course portal. You're welcome to follow that. I mentioned that my twins are going away to college. Another area focus for your success is learning how to take breaks from other things to focus on other things. So my focus right now is securing my daughter's bag and ensuring that they have a successful transition into school. So in the fall is when you'll expect new content on both of those platforms. In following those platforms, I'll be able to give you personalized questions answered over time beyond this period. Because another really cool aspect about success and building community is keeping your relationships intact, keeping them, building them, nurturing them. And I'm happy to mentor any of you and be a part of your process over time. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you about this today. And now I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question. Clearly, you've been through a lot of things. How did you remain positive and create your success despite all of this negativity and the things you've been through?
Okay, so you're right. So it's so interesting to answer this particular question, because one part of being a survivor is you get really good at leaping from one situation to the next, and the next to the next, the next, the next. And you quite often do not allow yourself opportunities to reflect and ask yourself, about Maya Angelou talks about the importance of remembering how you've overcome. So for me, I can honestly say that I've always practiced a tremendous amount of gratitude. I'm very grateful that I've always known that as difficult as some things were, I got the chance to still be in the game. There are so many people who did not have the opportunity to continue to go. So when I was in Brooklyn College and I was a single mom and I had my two girls, oftentimes they had to go to class with me in the summer and sit in statistics. Yes, they did. And I joke because I say they got into 38 colleges each, full scholarships, every school. And the joke in the house is it's because they've already been to college, because they had to sit with mommy when I was in school. Keeping a great sense of humor has helped me to navigate difficulty. Remaining grateful that I still had an opportunity to be in the game has helped me. Keeping great people around me. I have very strong friendships since the age of 12 years old. And I've made some, it's not easy to get a new friend out of me, because what I require for friendship, that self-respect piece that we talked about just a minute ago, I'm very clear on my boundaries, knowing how to set. Now I had to learn how to set boundaries in different capacities in my life over time, right? Because there will be the boundaries you set in your platonic relationships, right? And then there'll be the boundaries you set in your romantic relationships. And then there'll be the boundaries you set in your professional dynamics. And all of those things will pull on different parts of yourself. And you will always be able to tell how healthy you are at the level of your boundaries. Remember that. And I've always remembered how amazing it is to connect with people. Like people have been my saving grace. When you have a conversation with somebody, really show up to the conversation. That has helped me, because as you mentioned, I've had really crazy things happen to me. And what helped me stay sane was when I asked someone how they were, I would lock in to really hear how they were, because I needed 2 minutes of not focusing on myself. And when you learn to do that, it teaches you two things. It teaches you I can stop thinking about the awfulness, And it also teaches you that even in the awfulness, you can still show up for somebody else. So focus on being a good person and remember that you're still in the game. The only way to win is to play. Don't drop the ball.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
I have a question. You talked about like going through a whole lot of stuff, and I feel like you've been so successful. Like I can see that. But do you ever like have any form of like imposter syndrome, like as you go through like the days and stuff?
Absolutely. So it took me so imposter syndrome is a very real thing that everybody experiences. And then there are so many other subdynamics that compound imposter syndrome. And so this particular workshop, How to Bring Your A Game, is a workshop that I designed about 7 years ago that I began to teach at colleges, starting with CUNY, to address a great deal of that, because I know in particular, coming from the public college arena, there was a lot of fear on my end as to, well, how will I be able to measure up to people with a different level of privilege or different level of access? How will I actually do this? And the real deal is this: imposter syndrome and that fear of wondering, am I fully realized? Am I enough? It has to be managed throughout your entire life. One way in which you manage trauma, because that is a form of trauma, is to embrace the fact that you get to manage it for life. As things come up, as inadequacies show up, as fears come up, you give yourself the grace and the space to identify, what exactly am I feeling? Is it real? How does this feeling impact whatever task is in front of me? What resources do I need to manage it, right? And you devise a plan. So imposter syndrome, fear of success, wondering, did I make it? Am I okay? That constant self-check is a very real thing. And my particular approach to managing all of what you've just said has been never making myself feel like I had a deadline to do it. I am living consistently, so I'm growing consistently. When you focus on what's in front of you with a very process-like perspective, it takes a lot of pressure off. Oftentimes I find that people who crumble, they were supposed to have met this particular benchmark by this date, or else what? Or else what? Sometimes it really isn't or else what. So what? You're still here. So what? When my daughter told me she was gonna, it's very interesting, anecdotal. My daughter's very good friends with another girl, same GPA. When my daughter was applying to her schools, every school you could think of, the friend said, oh, but they only accept 9%. Oh, they only accept 16%. My daughter said, well, if I don't try, I've got a 0% chance. So that's what I would assign to you. Don't take yourself out of the game. Don't tell yourself no. Life will tell you no plenty of times. You don't have to help it. Get in the game. If you have any other questions, as I mentioned, today's workshop was really geared towards an overall approach. You know, I'm happy to hear about what your majors are. What are you studying? Really, really important tip I can give you: when you're around someone that you perceive to have a lot of information, go and get the information. I survived a cancer that only one other person in medical history has ever had, because instead of going to college, I went to find the experts. I literally had to travel to various states and one other country to ask people, hey, I heard you know a thing. I don't want to die. Sometimes your next big opportunity is connected to you saying, hey, I think you know a thing and I want to win. So don't sit back and wait and absorb. Be a part, be a contributor. Use these kind of forums to work through your nerves around public speaking. Nobody's going to grade you here. This is a very living, breathing opportunity to be in the room. So put yourself in the room. Never discount something that you may want to contribute. You may say something that somebody needed to hear. So learn the benefits of being all in.
Doris, until someone has a question, I'm sure you will get questions in the chat. I have a question for you. I just met with some students who want to start a student club on campus. How did you get motivated to do the seminar you were talking about, where it sounded like just you walked into the dean's office? What's the backstory there, and what advice can you give this group of students who want to start a student club?
Okay, so the backstory there was I had always had a very out the box approach to exploring climate. In my head, oftentimes rules are very much suggestions. And I think that as much as we need to have order, we also need to understand when we need to push the envelope and we need to explore the more that needs to come out of any kind of a learning situation. So with that particular group, the dean was starting something called a Student Leadership Council. And it was his idea to bring something that he had done at another school that he had done prior to coming to BC. And at that time, because I knew, so this is really good for those students to remember, I knew what my area of strength was. So spending a lot of time with the self, finding out what causes matter to you, being able to articulate what it is you actually want to do. Oftentimes, I find people want to create a town before they've built community. So what does that mean? It means that oftentimes there's a lot of fanfare around creating a thing, but more so, well, what's the cause that the thing is going to support? So I would encourage any student who has an interest in growing a platform to really finely detail, well, what is it that I care about? And how do I think I can help, fuel this particular thing? Because you don't want to just spin around in hot air. You want to produce something that can become something and live on after you as well. You want to be able, like now, the Student Leadership Council and the alumni foundation, those things are for the School of Business where I graduated. They're flourishing, and I'm grateful for my part. And I had the honor of being a part of the accreditation team for our business school, which was an honor as well. So what I'm saying is, because I had an idea and I had identified a passion, I was able to add value in ways that continue to build community and grow. See how I just linked that whole thing? You see that? See that thread? See? Link, grow, patch. See that? We said that. It's very important to land your plane. And if you're speaking truth, if you spend time with yourself, your story will be consistent. There will be no point that you will make at any point of you talking about yourself that will not be able to be proven, because you will have said it because you have first felt it. So very important that you connect your story to your real feelings, because your feelings are always going to tell on you. I would be more than happy if any of you would unmute yourself and tell me what you're studying and what you're planning to do after college. So who's going to be brave enough to do that? I can't see anybody else. So should I take this off gallery mode, or how should I do this? Tell me.
It's up to you if you want to take down the slide so you could see everyone. I'm not sure if everyone has their camera on though.
No, that's fine. So we'll have to stop share and then it'll go back to you.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Oh yeah, that was it. Okay, cool. So I would really like to encourage you to take this opportunity to ask some questions. Like you were on this oh, I see. And I'm going to ask you ladies to field the chat, because that's not really, my area of growth. But yeah, I want you to, feel free to talk to us about, oh, I see we have a question from Christy Korea.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for telling us your story. I really appreciate it. It takes a lot to do that. So for me, I'm gonna be a sophomore in college. I'm planning on being having a major in business administration, concentration in marketing, minor in film, but I'm still in the beginning of my college career, so it's very difficult for me to figure out what I want to do, right? And how do you find that path without, wasting so much time? Because I'm kind of on the limit of graduating in 4 years and being able to go past college.
Got it. So the first thing I would say is you said that you're going to be graduating with a degree in business, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you're in what year?
I'll be a sophomore this year.
Okay. So you're still very early in your process. So the first thing I want to tell you to do is take a deep breath and give yourself the grace to grow. Oftentimes we get into this this ready, set, go, like race type of thing, which is important. You have to have drive, but you also have to have direction. And direction is worth more than speed. So the fact that you asked that really profound question in your beginning of your sophomore year is incredible. I would encourage you to keep up with me offline, and we can take a deeper dive into your story and to figure out what kind of strategies you already have in place. Because one thing that I was really grateful for was my ability to strategize around the resources I needed, which was a combination of identifying strong mentorship, identifying what my skill sets were and the ways in which I could strengthen them, because your opportunities are going to be directly connected to the skill sets that you have. So as much as you want to graduate with a strong GPA and finish your classes, what you want to have just as much is skill sets that you can identify, because the skills travel with you. I have expertise in the beauty industry, and I also have clients who are physicians, and I help brand them for their book releases. So the skill set goes with me everywhere. Remember that this is the season for you to identify passions and skill sets. Passions and skill sets are going to help you identify opportunities, making connections that are lasting, and building community, while learning how to give yourself grace are going to make you likable. Because at the end of the day, if you're very smart, but nobody likes you, it doesn't matter. So this is the season where we all get to spend time with ourselves and connect with ourselves on a really personal level and say, would I want to spend time with me? Because if the answer is yes, then you have very little to worry about. People will work with you not knowing 50% of a thing if they like you, as opposed to you knowing 150% of a thing, but they don't understand how to connect with you. So I think you already know how to be a really good Christy Ruiz. So we just have to make you continue to know that. And again, just keep in touch with me. I hope you took the social media content there, and I can always send you my email. And that goes for everybody as well. Okay, we have Alicia Harding. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to put my camera on.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm also a sophomore with a concentration, basically Christie's. I'm a business major with a concentration in marketing. But my question to you would be, what's like the best strategy to start networking? Like, what did you personally do to like build your network?
Okay. So you said, and I'm going to repeat exactly what you said because I want to be exacting in the way that I answer you. You said, how did I begin my networking? So
Sorry, like, how did you like start your journey?
Oh, no, I got you. I was repeating because it was a good question. And I wanted to ensure that I was formulating my answer in line with your question. So it was a great question. So I'd always realized that my journey was always in play. Do you understand what I mean by that? So I'll explain. I don't ever think I began my journey. I've always loved people. So because I've always loved people, I didn't realize I was networking. I was the person that would have full-on conversations with the people that own the cleaners. I'm having conversations with the lady at the bus stop. That's just naturally how my spirit operates. I really enjoy connecting with people, and a lot of what drives that was the fact that I had a very difficult upbringing. I had very difficult things and challenging things to overcome in my life. And that can affect you in two ways. It can make a person isolate, or it can make a person more inclusive. And it's always a choice. It was my choice. I chose to not allow the difficulties in my life to make me isolate. I chose to remain inclusive. I chose to build community because at the end of the day, I couldn't control the kind of results that I may have gotten on a medical test, but I could control the way in which I connected with people. And I guess that may be a form of bravery, but for me, it was the only way to approach life. So whereas I don't wish those kind of difficulties on anybody, I would say what you can extract from them is it is always a choice how you show up. So with that said, it just transferred into how I dealt with professional situations as well. I was really focused on my own growth. See, when you focus on what you're able to do, it is very easy to connect with people who do a thing. Because the focus has always been not on who can I know, who can help me. It's what do I want to get really good at? And now that I'm working on those things, when Will Smith says, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So because my key focus was always on what are the things that I really enjoy? What are the things that drive me? What are the things that I'm passionate about? Get really laser focused on identifying those things. So that way, when you run into a Bien-Aime and a networking opportunity, you can readily say to me, I'm really good at baking these pies, and I wanted to talk to you about what I might be able to do to take these pies to the next level, because I just love these pies, really passionate about them. And even if Bien-Aime has no resources in the pie industry, Bien-Aime, if she's a nice person, is going to love your passion. And she's going to say, you know what, I don't know a thing about pies, but I do know of this. When you lead with your light, you invite energy towards you that encourages your next foot in the game. And it may not necessarily be a direct foot. It might mean you just practiced your pitch. Do you know how many times I've spoken about what I do and it didn't immediately land into something? But now I can speak extemporaneously. I'm a big vocabulary word person. So if you don't know what these words are, you need to be writing them down so that you can look them up. It's one of my little geeky things to do for fun. But extemporaneously means to speak off the dome. I do not write speeches. I rarely prepare things in advance. What I do is I connect with the people. So social distancing and Zoom conferences have definitely put a little weird damper in my ability to do that. But because it is what I do, I always find the way to land the plane. So to your question, how did I begin my journey? I just realized that it was every part of me was a part of the journey. You even asking that question is helping you in the journey. So don't list your network like, okay, well, I know this person and the VP of this and the VP of that. Don't think of that as the summation of what it means to network. Think about the fact that you are a part of this amazing cohort with these incredible people who are one day going to be as equally impressive as you. That's part of your networking journey. Think about the fact that you have access to Nava and her team. That is part of your networking journey. So when you think of networking and you totally assign it to a certain list of people, not only do you shrink the areas that would potentially be otherwise resource heavy, but you also limit the appreciation for what network really means. Like I was able to be here with you in fellowship because I saw an email from I think Natalia, right? And you, Nava. And that's how I came to you today, and then after I finish this, I'm going to do write a press release for a client who's going to be on the Today Show. So, but your network includes me, who includes people like Nava, who are connected to people in the Magnuson. So network has to be defined very specific. And starting has to be defined very specifically, which is why I took what you said verbatim, because I want you to understand the breadth of what it means to network. It's not just I met the VP of this. You could meet the VP and the CEO of that, whatever, and they may be a jerk. So it's not oftentimes we assign that word to titles. It has to be assigned to connection. Connection is what breeds opportunity over time. And authenticity is what secures the bag every time, because nobody wants a phony. Make sense? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. Did you take down the Instagram? Did you see it?
I did not see the Instagram. Did you put it in the chat?
And you know why I'm bringing that up? No, it is so important that you catch all of the gems that you see, because oftentimes what happens is we realize how cool something was after the fact. One thing I will tell you has helped me in my ability to identify opportunities is I don't miss anything. Even if it's something I don't understand in the moment, I still say if somebody thought enough to put it out there, then it must mean something. It may not mean something to me at this very particular moment, but let me take a picture of it, let me screenshot it, let me note it, because when I have more information later, but it's gone, that doesn't help me. So one way that you will ensure your success is not equating how you feel about something to determine how much you prioritize it. Very, very good. I was reading some of the chat stuff. You want to not equate how you feel, because if you don't want to do something and you don't feel like you want to do it, you won't do it. If you don't understand something, you won't do it. Feelings are not always facts. Feelings matter, but not always as it relates to exploring opportunity. Make sense? I believe so. I see it in the chat there. Yeah, there are two there. And again, the L.A.N.D experience is a platform where you'll see a lot of professional development, mentorship opportunity. It's very new. I mentioned with me transitioning the twins on campuses on opposite sides of the country, I took a break for myself with that. In the fall, that'll be full-fledged. I'm really grateful. I have a really cool network of really, really impressive colleagues who are interested in doing a lot of content and workshops and things like that, so that I will definitely share the information again. And I'll do my email as well, and we'll get all that going. So was there any other questions up? I thought there was some hands up. And if not, I'm going to turn it over to my lovely co-host to give me any additional insight. I would encourage you, I just want to say a little bit about this next leg of your journey. While you're in your classes, do your very best to not so much focus on the grades you get, but the opportunity to drill down on what you're learning. And I also want to encourage you to identify professionals in the spaces that you want to go into and study their processes, not so that you can copy or mimic them, but so that you can pick up some habits. Like I just said, I always note information. If I'm hearing a speaker, I tell myself everything that's going to come out of that person's mouth is something I need to know. That's just something I commit to going in, because that's my time. I can't get my time back. That's my energy. I can't get my energy back. So I need to be locked in, because you might say something that I need to know. So even if it means absolutely nothing to me at the point in which you said it, I want to have it. Look, even right now, I'm the one talking to you and I have my own, this is gangster. I'm the speaker and I have my, talk about a tool. So I want you to ready yourself for the fact that if I stay ready, I don't have to get ready. Get that in your mind. You know that because you're Brooklyn College students. Nobody knows grit like we do. Nobody knows that get right energy like we do. So take that energy with you. Take that energy with you and apply pressure. Okay, so how we doing, ladies? On time. I'm checking in with my co-host. Yeah, check it with your team.
Yeah, we're perfect on time. Thank you for the amazing words. I don't see any more questions in the chat or hands raised, but I just want to say thank you. This was so inspirational and I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure. I'm super happy. So last bit of tips I would give you is I would say practice your pitch, your elevator pitch, because you're going to take this incredible experience, this journey from Brooklyn College, and it's going to amount to interview opportunities. You're going, hopefully I'll see you all this fall, some of the Magna Center opportunities for career development, other additional workshops, but use all of this as an opportunity to catapult you into your next self. You know, research the industries you want to go into, watch as many videos and things that you can, take notes, read books. I'm a huge proponent of self-development books. You know, those are the things you want to put your mind on. Have fun with it too. Build friendships in cohorts like this because you're around like-minded people. I can't stress to you how important it is for you to find people who want to go where you want to go. It'll help you toe the line. It'll help you, you know, continue in your journey. And that's pretty much what I did. You know, if developing your elevator pitch is something you need help with, I would suggest you, you know, say something now, or you can always schedule something later. If you want to discuss what does it mean to explore internship opportunities and how do you differentiate yourself, because internships are really important, especially to all of you here. You want to be able to have as many opportunities to speak to what you can do so that you don't have to say so much.
Before we say goodbye, Samantha, do you have your hand up? I can't tell. I don't know.
No, I don't.
Okay. Doris, I can't tell you how many gems you have in your extemporaneous talk. I don't think you should ever have a speech. You really addressed so many sort of broad issues that students and you know, staff and faculty are also facing. Everybody is changing. The pandemic, as we all know, has really kickstarted change in everyone. And now's a really good time to get your tools together and get ready for whatever comes next. So everyone, let's give Victoria and Amber some snaps because they did such a great job. This is their third moderation this week. And everyone, we're here at the Women's Center. I put my email in the chat. You're welcome to give me, send me a note if you want to talk about what's going on with you, classes, as well as resources on campus and off. Doris, I hope that we will have more connections with you. Let's talk soon. Good luck with your twins. That's a big step for you. It's very exciting. So everyone have a great afternoon, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me. I did put my email in the chat as well for those of you that wanted it, okay? Have a great day. Thank you, Nava, for having me. Amber and Victoria, it was a pleasure. And everybody have a great day and keep in touch.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.